President Obama spoke earlier this afternoon after a dismal start on Wall Street, and you'll see the numbers didn't improve. In a wall honoring 29 veterans, Helen Gerard is the only woman to have served in the armed forces at Boone Landing. A sad situation just keeps getting worse here. As I talked with Columbia Police just minutes ago, they said that the second victim hit tonight along I-70 has been confirmed dead. Now what we did here was we put a thermometer in this car about 45 minutes ago, and as you can see, the temperature has already risen to 125 degrees in just 45 minutes here. People I've been talking with here are getting pretty anxious. You can hear music going on in the background here. We're expecting fireworks, like I said, in about 10 minutes or so. Now, interestingly enough, this hearing is set to take place almost 10 years to the day of when Columbia Tribune sports editor Kent Heithold was murdered on Halloween 2001. It's one of 97 wineries in Missouri, and it's doing some expanding. KOMU8's Todd Tumenia joins us live this morning at 5:37 from the winery.
Oh
Todd,
my, where are you, Todd?
Where are you right now?
Markets plummeted this afternoon after a historic downgrade in the U.S. credit rating. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Reek.
And I'm Angie Bailey. Standard & Poor's credit rating agency dropped the nation's credit score from a AAA to a AA+. That move dramatically hit the stock market today. KOMU8's Ben Wagner spoke with some investors who said they're worried about their finances.
Yeah, Angie and Jim, today marked a tumultuous day on Wall Street, and investors I spoke with today say they're worried, but they still see light at the end of the tunnel. As clouds rolled in over Fulton, a downgrade in the U.S. credit rating swept through stock markets. And a historically low day on Wall Street has some mid-Missouri investors worried about their own possibly gloomy financial future.
Well, I am worried. I'm definitely worried.
Judy Bastine works part-time now and has been partly living off money she's been saving for years.
You know, my 401 is, going down the tubes fast. I'm semi-retired. And, right now the horizon doesn't look too good that I'm going to be fully retired.
The downgrade with Standard & Poor's credit agency could have financial implications in several sectors, including borrowing costs.
It's just like a consumer. If you have a lower credit, you're going to pay a higher interest rate. And now that our government debt rating has been lowered, potentially we can pay higher interest rates.
But despite dramatic losses across the board, investment advisors caution against emotional transactions.
Cashing out, for example, at this time when the market and on panic and fear is usually never a good thing.
And while a financial storm could hit mid-Missouri in the coming months, Bastine says she's still confident in her country.
It will come back. I believe in the American economy, and it will come back.
Now, Borman also told me today the stock market is like a roller coaster with highs and lows. He said it's important to keep a level head, especially during downturns like this. President Obama spoke earlier this afternoon after a dismal start on Wall Street, and you'll see the numbers didn't improve. All three stock indicators lost today. The Dow dropped more than 600 points, NASDAQ dropped nearly 7%, and the S&P 500 dipped more than 6% today. U.S. stocks have dropped more than 15% in the last 2 weeks.
After natural disasters ravaged areas across the state, lawmakers met today to figure out the price tag to rebuild. Good evening, I'm Blake Hansen.
And I'm Angie Bailey. The House panel met at the Capitol earlier today. KOMU8's Ben Wagner was at that meeting. I understand lawmakers made some progress, right, Ben?
Yeah, Angie and Blake, that's right. The House Interim Committee on Disaster Recovery, created to report to Speaker Stephen Tilley by month's end, finalized its recommendations today. While members made progress, the future is still a little unclear about how much the government will spend in disaster areas. Nearly 2 months after a devastating tornado ripped through Joplin, lawmakers are now tasked with a new issue: how to pay to rebuild disaster zones across the state.
I would rather overguess or put an estimate of higher than lower.
Joplin State Rep. Bill White says the Rainy Day Fund could be the solution the panel is looking for. Committee members say they will back the $250 million allowance, which alleviates costs the federal government won't cover.
If this isn't a time you use a disaster fund, when are you ever going to do it?
But Budget Director Linda Lubring is uneasy about tapping into the fund.
And I don't know that the Rainy Day Fund really is the best source for what we're currently facing. That's really a discussion that we need to have. It is an option. I don't know if it's the best option.
She said she worries slow revenue growth will eventually lead to budget cutbacks in the future. The fund also serves as a backup for extra state expenses.
The state's ability to kind of borrow from itself is a very important ability.
It's a game of wait and see to decide exactly how much money flooded areas or tornado zones will get. Committee members also said today they hope to have a better estimate on the total dollar amount by the special session in September.